Hey, it's Sunday night, November 20th. We're here live on the bitter end. I'm here with the WOG. Hey, WOG.
What's up? What's up? What's
How
up?
are you?
I'm peachy.
We've got Turn in the back room. Let's
keep him in the back room.
Let's bring him in.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Hey, Turn.
There we are.
How you guys doing tonight?
Tired and just getting my voice back.
I could use a half a pack of cigarettes.
were you screaming a lot in Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas, yeah. While screaming and trying to talk to people over music and all the things. But yes, crazy.
So you hit the blackjack. Did you do the blackjack tables?
I don't do the gambles, so no.
You got to find one thing to do, to waste $1.
Well, I mean, I'd play cards with friends, but that's really all.
No, but I mean, when you're in a casino, you throw $20 in a slot machine or something.
They get enough of your money every kind of way.
Yeah, but it's worth taking a pull. I can't. I'm with you. I can't do the cards, the hardcore gambling. It's so easy for me to kind of fall into these, traps. So.
No, I'm quite the opposite. I just literally have no draw. It would take effort for me to sit down even to one of those video game machine things and just put $5 in and push the buttons. I don't.
Is it $5 now? Jeez.
No, I mean they have all different kinds.
Yeah,
they've got $100 ones.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was $5 now.
They have $100.
Pull the arm, $5. Yes,
$100.
Well, yeah.
Pull the arm.
What happened to the penny slots?
They have them still, but they have
maybe in Old Town, but I don't know.
No, there's going to be a row of penny slots somewhere on the floor, with some old blue hairs, smoking cigarettes, But even with the, you got the dollar ones, you put it in there, and you play 99 lines, and it's $100 a pull, So
right.
What?
Yeah,
$100 a pull.
Yeah, just in case you weren't losing money fast enough, Turn. You just let her crank, I'll go buy booze with that money, and hang out. Actually, it's become a lot more just destination with different stuff going on. Hung out at a piano or dueling piano bar for a while.
Those are always fun.
It's fun, Then they got a whole bunch of parties just for this and that and everything going on. So it's for the MJ BizCon. So lots of parties, lots of marijuana, lots of things.
Can't smoke in here. It's not tobacco.
Exactly.
Yes.
Although you can smoke in there, except for tobacco, unless you're vaping, then everything's cool. So, anyway.
I'm all confused. Very confused.
Vegas, baby. Nothing makes sense.
No, the whole country doesn't make sense. But
Yeah, there you go. So might as well have fun doing it.
can't smoke
So do
the
we-
nicotine, but
Do we want, let's start there then. You know, that was something we kind of ran out of gas last time.
Sure.
And so I was listening to Nick Rekieta's channel after the midterms, and one of the things he had pointed out as Republican stupidity, which I tend to agree with, is that they need to get
marijuana stuff.
Well, yeah, they need to get on board with the legalization, and I think for the most part, I think most people are there, but there's still some states that are not. And I think in North Dakota, South Dakota, and Arkansas, they voted down legalization in the ballot initiatives they had there. So that's kind of like the stupid party stuff. So I'm pro.
People,
go ahead.
I think it's the people that are still listening to that. It's like a right versus left issue, and it really has nothing to do with that. It's just not.
It's not, but it kind of feels like it still is, because you've got the just say no, that's so ingrained, I think, in the Republican, side, or anyone who's older than, or 30, probably.
I think it's more than that, though. I mean, there's people alive that know the anti-cigarette smoking campaigns, right? And now you're being told, I mean, they're moving heaven and earth to prevent you from smoking a cigarette, right? Nicotine. And at the same time saying, yeah, let's do the wacky tobacco. It, for the logical party, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't compute. Doesn't, people are like, well, wait a second. Okay, I accepted the fact that you banned smoking from everywhere, cigarettes. You can't smoke it in a bar, you can't smoke it in a restaurant. In some places, you can't smoke it in your own restaurant or your own residence. And then at the same time,
smoke it here or there. You cannot smoke it anywhere.
You can't smoke it anywhere. And at the same time, well, here's something that actually mentally alters you. Yeah, let's make this legal. It logically, that does not compute. And I would posit to say the people on the conservative side, the right side of the aisle, are logical people.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I always go back to, like, the people I've always worked with. As I said, it's not really a right or left issue, because redneck hillbillies love their weed. That's just like case in point. Like, don't care, right? I mean, it's not a thing. And I would say that the more conservative right, in terms of the business side of things, having had probably supported big tobacco, is probably with a pretty simple statement from Mr. Trump. I actually believe that if he would have come out before the election and said that he would be for federal descheduling of the marijuana and all cannabis products in order to get business correct in the states, that he would have just even bigger landslide. Because I'll tell you something. There's a lot of like things that are the same with a lot of marijuana users, more natural living users, and one of those things is the jab, right? A lot of them don't like the jab. They don't like big pharma. They don't like a lot of those things. But it's just like you said, Riggs. It's so weird. They want you to stop smoking, but they'll be all for marijuana because they think that marijuana will be the next chance at equity. But that's another gigantic failure of this whole liberal experiment of trying to push. Because I would say that the initial legalization efforts, right, it's mostly driven by the left. And I mean, just because traditionally those on the left would be pro marijuana for all the reasons there, and the right would be against it for whatever conservative domestic conservative
Yeah,
issue.
but can I just pause you right there and ask?
Yeah, we're jumping all over the place.
Yeah, I just want to pause you right there and ask you. So you posit that
what we do.
You posit that the left was the first to be for legalization of marijuana. Is that your?
That's my posit. Yeah, I might be wrong.
Okay, now, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. But would you say that wasn't it the left that was anti-nicotine?
I actually don't know. I actually don't know the answer to that.
What would your answer to that question?
I think probably the more left leaning people would be against smoking, and from a public health kind of angle.
Well, how do you square that circle? That's what I have a hard time.
You can't,
honestly,
and that's I have the same. I encounter the same thing, and I've been at the same place of employment for a decade, and my work takes me into multifamily residential buildings on the regular. And I would say 10 years ago, it was you'd smell the cigarette smoke in the corridors and outside of people's apartments and things like that, and you'd never smell marijuana. Occasionally, you would, in the process of doing inspections, you'd see evidence, of people partaking. But now, over the last, 5 years, I'd say, increasingly common to find, to smell it in the hallways, on the roofs, in the parking garages, pretty much in people's homes, pretty much everywhere, to the point where it's like it'll knock you over when you get off an elevator. And this is from a state that was late to the party as far as legalizing for recreational purposes.
Yeah, but let me take it one step further.
So all those places have been, a lot of them are grandfathered, so it's a never-ending battle to try to stop the people from smoking cigarettes or cigars or whatever. I mean, I was even involved in a legal matter with one homeowner suing another homeowner because they were smelling what they thought was their cigarettes coming through the walls and the vents and stuff. So we had to try to figure out if that was actually happening. But people just kind of complain under their breath about the marijuana stuff. It's because it's so progressive to be in favor.
Yeah, but I would not simplify it as such, because there was such a vehement anti-vaping movement, which vaping for the mainstream.
Yeah, I mean, I think
the mainstream vaping is for nicotine, and yet, I mean, the full weight of the federal government is coming down on vaping.
Well,
but the Mary Jane, okay.
Well, that's what's hilarious about the vaping thing is that the all of that was completely misdirected, and more in favor of legalization than not, because they've found. I'm pretty sure I read a lot of stuff on that, and I'm no expert, but in my survey of the situation, all of the vape deaths and all of the noise I heard with all of the vape lungs and all that kind of stuff was coming from illegal vaping mechanisms and not those that were permitted. I don't think they have a single case of any of this nefarious activity that happened with VapeGate, where they shut down all the vaping, all the marijuana vaping and nicotine vaping for that period of time. And they've implemented laws. They've cut out, flavored vapes for nicotine. They stopped the vapes in Massachusetts for like 6 months, which like brutalized the burgeoning marijuana industry, because you had products sitting on a shelf that then had to be retested and redeployed and take up space, and they age and it's not as good. The oil breaks down, et cetera. And now, you cause this big catastrophe when really it was all Chinese vapes on the street illegally, just like fentanyl and all this other stuff.
We're trying to protect the children, so the children, instead of, out back behind the CVS, smoking ill-gotten cigarettes or something they cribbed from grandma, they're getting their jewel pods,
the Chinese stuff,
somehow. and or through the same means, probably. So but this is this national emergency, but it's no different than what it was before. I guess they could be sneakier about it because you can't smell it on them anymore. But what
the hell is the logical position? I mean, what is the argument?
There isn't one turn. I mean, that's the thing. You're absolutely right.
The vaping thing is that there's insufficient data on long-term health consequences. Where I would say at this point, just from what I've seen in the last 10 years, that the introduction of e-cigarettes is a public health miracle.
Exactly.
In transitioning people off of combustible products to something that's less.
But even if we go back to the old school stuff, the traditional light the flame, light a combustible product. I mean, tobacco kills you 60 years, 50 maybe. I mean, if you're unlucky, right? And that's it. It's like it's something that kills you. Caffeine that kills you in 50, 60 years, 70 maybe. And the marijuana is similar to alcohol, and it alters your mental state, right?
Yeah.
So and who knows what the long-term effects, I'm sure they must be similar to tobacco. I mean, you're inhaling leaves of combustion.
I think what you're getting at is that we're all pretending that it's perfectly fine, and there's nothing.
It's not.
There's no consequences, from it.
Yeah. So one we need to open the doors for. The other one continue cracking down on. So, and the one that we're cracking down on has no mental effects other than mental effects similar to caffeine.
Yeah. So Turn, I 100% agree with you. I would just say both of them should be let to go in a free country, right? I mean, that's really my opinion.
I agree with you, Wog. Without a doubt, I agree with you. I'm just trying to understand the jihad against tobacco.
Oh, I agree.
And the let's open the doors to marijuana. That
I
makes
think
no sense to me.
I think you have to follow the money, and this is what I always suspected, is that because big pharma, big med went behind the ACA and they had to pick up the tab, they had to shut down big smoking because big tobacco is a mean thing. It's like the South Park episode, right, Riggs? I mean, it's like or both of you guys, like you go to the hall of what everybody chooses or whatever, and it's my sexy body, stuff, and then there's a guy smoking, and then they just scream at them, like it's like what?
Yeah, but I mean,
it doesn't square.
No, it doesn't square, because if you use Coca-Cola every day like you use Marlboros, you're gonna die.
Way worse. Yeah.
Yes,
actually worse.
So
way worse.
That's what is weird to me, and I'm not. I'm a former smoker, and I enjoyed it, quit it because I know the health effects. But lots of things that are legal kill you.
Yep.
So I don't understand the mechanism for the federal government to get involved and decide that you cannot partake of this product. Well, they get a lot of money from tobacco.
And they get even more from marijuana now too.
Well, I don't think they get anywhere near what they were getting from tobacco from marijuana. And I would say this: I think that there's my tinfoil hat. Put my tinfoil hat on, and the actions against the vaping industry, and people who vape, trying to make it more difficult for them. I think there's definitely an angle there to kind of push people back into the cigarettes. I really do. Because when you pick some, I know it's a lot cheaper when you have one of those fancy vape pens and interchangeable filters and batteries and heating elements and all that kind of stuff, and you buy the juice by the gallon, instead of the $20 pack of Jewel Pods or whatever. But when you get with something, you tend to stick with it, and people go in and buy those, and when they can't find them anymore, and you're standing there in front of the counter at the Quick Stop. Oh well, I guess I'll take old trusty Marlboro Reds. I need something. So, which is, I guess, part of the problem with it is you're not quitting anything really. You're just transferring over to something else, a different nicotine delivery mechanism, but one that's seems to be less destructive. But if you need that fix, you're gonna get it from wherever you can, right? And speaking of the weed stuff, with we were talking about pharmaceutical companies and stuff before. I mean, I'm somebody, I think, on the record that's pretty skeptical of the benefits of marijuana. I'm sure there are some, but I tell you what, after everything I've seen the last 2 years from the pharmaceutical companies, I think my skepticism is waning because
that's exactly right.
They just want to put you on everything that comes out of their labs and research and development budgets, so they can charge you forever. Looking at looking at the psychological drugs and all that kind of stuff, that the numbers that are coming out now of the 75 million kids are on Adderall, or some, other thing. And now you're seeing articles about these different antidepressants, none of them really work, it's pretty wild. So, I don't trust, let's say I trust Big Pharma a lot less after the last 2 years than I did before. And maybe some of those leftists that I would, kind of poke fun at, previously, we're onto something.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. Is that, I mean, there is natural medicines exist, just like natural immunity exists, but we'll leave that one there. And not everything has to be solved by taking a pill or doing something. You can even if it's not marijuana, you could just drink a tea. There's things that you can do to help with depression, help with anxiety, and help with this and help with that. And when those things get a little bit too rough, there's other things that are still naturally there that aren't available because they've been shut out by the farm, big pharma. And I was with you guys, right? I mean, I thought that, oh, big pharma, they're just really working to get where we need to go as humans, and they're all on the up and up and blah blah blah. But after the last couple of years, nope. That's all pretty much out the window. Shaken confidence by the normal man is rough, man or woman, is a rough position to be in. And I don't think people accept it on its face anymore. There's a big portion of the population that doesn't accept it on its face. There's a big portion that does, and will get boosted to infinity and beyond. But right now, there's a huge growing anti-medicine movement, which is dangerous in the other way, right? You don't want these people just saying, I'm not going to take any vaccinations at all. And that's what's happening now. It's because they've just ruined the trust of any kind of legitimate medical organization. So what are you going to do? I don't know. But
no, it's pretty crazy. I mean, we saw a study recently that I guess magnesium is good for
a lot,
helping with depression. So I added that into the vitamin cocktail, to boost the immune system. That I've been taking for the last year and a half. But I will say, I will take issue with one thing. Wag, you said, if Trump had gone all in on decriminalizing marijuana, legalizing it, changing the schedule, whatever, that he would have won in a landslide. And I think that may be true if he had done so at a very early date and rode that train. Agreed. I think the fortification, as
we talked about last time,
that. So last Hail Mary pass, a week before the election,
it wouldn't have worked.
Like, oh, we're gonna go. One of our big things is right this wrong and pardon everybody, and this is racist criminalization and all this kind of stuff, they would have possibly it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That was our last week's conversation, so we'll just leave it with that. But the mail-in voting has to stop. Period.
Yep.
But but yeah. So what were we talking about?
The wacky tobacco.
Yeah. So what else about it?
I don't know. Just 20 minutes.
Got a couple more states. A couple more states approved the use of it. I think it will be damn near 50 states somewhat soon. I don't believe that the federal government will do anything about it in earnest, just because of the 280E tax treatment of these companies. Now, are you guys familiar with this?
Negative.
Sorry. So most people are not. If you're not in the industry, you probably have no idea, because everybody would go, why doesn't the federal government just legalize it and tax the shit out of it? It's because they're taxing the shit out of it right now. The federal government is actually making billions and billions of dollars right now on the marijuana companies because of a piece of the tax code called 280E. Now, I'm no expert on taxes, and I'm not a tax professional. I'm just a dumb mechanical engineer. But the 280E tax code it makes them pay income tax, but it does not allow them to write off the cost of goods sold against their product. So for a normal company, when you're a manufacturer, you make a product, you don't pay taxes on anything going into the product, and you pay taxes on the product in its final form, right? So you make a car, your General Motors, right? All the windshield wipers and the engine and the tires and all the AC Delco products that you buy and you put them in the car. Well, you don't pay taxes on that the whole time until you bring the car to the showroom sorry, there's a message on the side. And you don't pay taxes on any of that stuff, and then when you sell the car, you pay tax on the whole thing. Well, marijuana companies aren't able to do that, so they get taxed on their entire top line revenue rather than their net revenue, subtracting COGS. So what happens is they end up having these tax rates that are just like incomprehensible. If the equivalent taxes they pay are like 85 to 95% of their profits. So even the ones that are doing really, really well are only making like a couple $1 million. Like the big multi-billion, like the billion-dollar companies, not the ones in Canada that are burning 90% of what they grow. Like there's two companies that are here in the States that are very good, GTI and Verano, that are still struggling. They make EBITDA. Their EBITDA looks great, but they get taxed to oblivion. So they
what is EBITDA?
Earnings before interest, taxes, and depreciation.
Oh, okay. Not a cool drug thing. It's just tax stuff.
It's tax stuff. It's dumb tax stuff. But all of that to say, even these huge marijuana companies that are selling in multi-state operators and all that stuff, they're all losing money because the federal government is taxing the ever-loving shit out of them.
That's because you haven't stopped moving yet.
What's that?
That's because you haven't stopped moving. I mean, that's the Reagan quote. If it moves, tax it. If it keeps moving, regulate it. And if it stops moving, subsidize it. So you haven't gotten to the stop moving phase. Well, stop moving phase. The government money will start rolling in.
Right. This is the thing. Next year, I believe that fully half of these companies will fail. And everybody at the BizCon was talking about mergers and acquisitions, when the reality is nobody has any money. So any mergers and acquisitions will come out of trying to survive, which will be pure equity swaps. There won't be investments or purchases like we've seen in the last 5 years of these big megas going after and expanding through purchasing. It'll be mergers so that they don't die. And the ones that don't will just die. It's too much tax. And inflation, and less stipend from the government, as it were, I guess. So we definitely saw all that money from all of the stimulus just basically go to buy weed in our experience, or a bunch of it anyway. So anyway, that's the state of the weed market. It's going to be a bloodbath next year, but hopefully it'll come back through because it's just more and more legalization and people are going to make a go of it. So it's not dead, certainly. It's hard times. And if you're out there looking to invest money in it, don't probably.
Well, it's
let the ashes fall.
Hard pass, right? Hard pass.
Yeah, hard pass for me. Yeah, definitely. If I had any money, I wouldn't be putting it into weed companies.
Maybe heat in the home, right?
No, long on oil, baby. I know it's coming down on the market, but long on oil when it fucking goes through the roof in the late winter. I bought a wood stove.
You're gonna chop down your trees to heat your house.
Yes, I am. I will. If it comes to that, you bet your ass I will be.
How many trees? Cords of wood is probably cheaper than the oil, so
it definitely is. Yeah, it definitely is. I thought I should pick a couple of cords up and just stack them somewhere. Except my house, the way it is, I have nowhere to hide it. So if I had cords of wood, it would just be free pickings for people that just want to steal. If shit gets real, you know what I'm saying? So.
What do you have your house set at temperature wise?
I have my house on 55 right now. My family hates me.
That's brutal.
68.
You're the wog. I mean, oh man.
Everybody's all my kids are like, Daddy, you're just walking around like it's normal. I was like, no, I got a hoodie and I got my shoes on and I got long pants and you survive. And they're like, we don't understand. I was like, you got to acclimatize. We don't acclimatize this winter. We're going to be spending a ridiculous amount. I think I said it before. It's $1,200 for 210 gallons. And when it goes up, and that was at 470.
How much is that a month for you? How much is that a month?
I will in a bad winter, in the depths of winter, January, February, I'll burn a whole tank a month. So that would be $1,200 a month. But that's today's pricing, and that's the thing. It's going to go way up. So you're probably talking $10 a gallon come the depths of winter. And I don't know. I hope I'm wrong, right? I hope I'm so very wrong, and that doesn't happen. But this is the most we've ever spent on a tank of oil ever. I mean, ever.
Hopefully that global warming will finally come through for us.
I've been praying for it forever.
I mean, you
need a hot room,
get the beachfront property, and then you get the low heating bill.
Well, then you get the cooling bill, which is worse. I mean, honestly, Florida, Texas, it's all great, but their electrical prices have gone through the roof over the last year.
Yeah, but you're young and healthy. You're not going to die from not having the air conditioning on, but you could probably die or freeze your pipes, if you don't have the heat.
No. That's why I got the wood stove. So I already have a plan. I'll plug the wood stove into my chimney clean out, and we'll pitch the tent in the dining room. We'll all sleep in the tent, and we'll be fine. Be all good.
In the basement, don't you have a basement?
I have a tiny little basement. And it stinks, and there's lots of spiders. So there's no chance on getting the kids down there.
Yeah, but that's at least you have some geothermal going on in the basement.
Yeah, maybe. I'll try. We'll see what's going on. Well, if it comes to that.
That's what we did during one 5-day power outage in the middle of the summer where I lived. We camped out in the basement because it stayed at least semi-cool. Yeah. It wasn't hellish like it was upstairs. So
I mean, the basement's already good for you, Wog. When we get tricked into World War III, also you can go down there.
Oh yeah, it's all stone, so yeah, we're good. Definitely good.
What do you guys think about that? I mean, I haven't been following it too closely, but we had this incident. I think I shot you guys a message about hopefully I don't die before I get home. When I was driving back from my business down south, and so we had reports that Russia had lobbed a missile into Poland, and our friends over in the Ukraine were telling us to get in the game, and it turns out, it was them. Well, I don't know how timid I should be with this, but do we think it was an accident, really an accident? Do we think it was like with purpose to try to provoke NATO into action? What the hell's going on?
You can't tell which way is up with this stuff because the fog of war is too thick and the media is so compromised. Right, so like they're only reporting on what people are saying or coming out and whatever, and they wanted to cover it up quickly. So I don't know. Have any of us looked at like foreign news?
Yeah, I mean, to me,
that are reporting on this.
To me, none of it's surprising. I mean, you've got to look at it from a perspective of Ukraine. I mean, from their perspective, they're engaging in a war, and they're trying to do whatever. I understand our perspective, which is drag us into World War III. But their perspective is, they're under attack, and they're pulling every card that they can, whether it's reasonable or not is one thing, but they're trying to play every card they got. And that's not to say whatever they're doing is legitimate, for sure, but that's the position they're in. Not the position we're in, not the position Poland's in, but that's the position they are in. And so we got to take everything that they say with a big grain of salt.
Yeah, it's I don't know what to think about all this, really. I've been very conflicted with the whole thing, because my family heritage is from, vaguely somewhere around Ukraine, and I don't know the exact, town or county or whatever the heck they call it over there. And I have some very good friends doing good work, in relief efforts, organizing charity work for the children, displaced and things like that. Long time friends, longer than you guys, way longer than you guys. But it's this whole thing just kind of reeks. And then you throw in all the corruption, this whole FTX thing, and kickbacks and everything. It's hard to make heads or tails out of any of it, other than it just doesn't seem to be our battle, and the stakes are too high when you're dealing with our obligations to NATO and playing games like bringing Ukraine in, and what the ramifications of that are. With Putin's gonna steamroll Ukraine and then go into somewhere else, and maybe that's a NATO country. I don't know that he's that crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing that
likes to project him as being that crazy, but
it's confused me this whole time, and so like, and maybe you guys can elaborate for me, because maybe I'm not paying enough attention to it, but there's like there's a whole set of people that are like kind of on Russia's side, which is, to me, is kind of weird, because I just thought Russia's the bad guy, always has been. I mean, even the other super Trumpers I know are like, Russia never did anything because Trump told him he's going to fuck them up with nukes if they tried anything, and that's all. That was all in that state. But there are people that are kind of on the side of Russia, which really, I don't understand. Like, I just really don't understand it. But by the same token,
let's wind back the clock, though, on that. So this will be, a common talking point. I think, I don't know, in conversation with you guys, probably, over too much beer and a fire. I've mentioned this before, but it's one of my father's, favorite talking points. This all goes back to the first Bush administration, where the fall of the Soviet Union, and instead of reaching out a hand and saying let's fix you guys up and be friends, we've spent the last 30 years pretending that they were still the Soviet Union. So I think there's people genuinely not interested in that narrative, and there's people mostly in power that have a lot to be gained from continuing that narrative. So I don't see them as the big boogeyman that others do. That doesn't make me a Putin puppet or something like that. Certainly they have problems, with their government, and I think their elections are a lot more rigged than anything we could muster. They have their oligarchs and all that kind of stuff, but they're not. They shouldn't have been viewed as the enemy all these years, and they are interested in protecting their own sphere of influence, just as we would be interested in protecting our own sphere of influence. We wouldn't take kindly to
people putting missiles in Cuba.
Right. So, there's, you don't want, if, a border count, turn, what are the states in Mexico? States?
Let's go with it.
All right,
yes, so they are states. Yes. Correct.
So say there's a state in Mexico on the border of the United States that decides to break away from Mexico and declare allegiance to communist China, and then the Chinese come in and start doing all kinds of stuff. That's not something that historically the United States would be okay with.
Or like the Panama Canal.
Right. So anybody who's trying to flex muscle over here in the Western Hemisphere in Central or South America is going to run into problems, with North.
Yeah, but
so
where I would dispute that is not to put anyone down in the Western Hemisphere, but most of the countries we are talking about in Europe have been world empires at some point. Not Ecuador, El Salvador, Honduras.
They've been colonies.
They've been, but the point is Germany, United Kingdom. I mean, we're talking about entities that are very big, globally, and to say that what Russia has done, and this is not something new. They took over Georgia. They took over Crimea.
Yeah.
It's not that this is something out of the blue. We just want these pieces. This has been an ongoing thing for a number of years. And I guess what I would say I am is in the middle of the road on this issue. I see both sides. But Russia isn't innocent in any of this, in my opinion. I mean, they want to control their sphere of influence, and they want to put their boot down where they want to put their boot down. And there's places that don't like that.
I mean, part of me, guys, part of me wonders why it's taken so long for Russia to actually get anywhere. I mean, they can't be that badly disorganized as a military. I mean,
I think we're seeing that they are.
Well, so it's one of two things, right?
And we are too. We are too. Let's not.
No, I know, but I think that if we had to defend ourselves, or if we really launched an effort to do something, we're usually somewhat good at it. I know, we've taken a knee, and we've done a lot of things in the Middle East, and depending on who's in charge and what our soldiers can do, but in general, we've done a lot of like pretty strong
I mean,
movements, right?
Our
this has
thing
been like a blithering failure, like
but our
one.
thing is we can take you back to the Stone Age, but guess what? The Stone Age can defeat us.
Mm-hmm.
That's our move, right? You're in the Stone Age. Guess what? We can't beat the Stone Age, so we're out of here.
Well, whenever we decide to only put the safeties on our guns and then run from Afghanistan real quick without looking anywhere and leaving everybody there.
Yeah,
those are the times that's what happens. Right?
I'm talking about the whole package, and that's the whole package. So, yes,
because we're horrible and duration fights, and democracies usually are. Because
well, what did I mean, the thing with their military, I forget when, it was a few years ago, but I guess maybe when they were maybe it was when they were taking over the Crimea or whatever, but their big battle cruiser was like rolling down to like flex muscle.
It was like I remember something, right?
No, I remember seeing it like pulling into port because it's conventional, oil steam boilers, and like I think it's just smoking like a bastard. And like, I'm like, this is not a serious threat, this is what I know they have some submarines, that are, the real deal, but their surface fleet is not.
Yeah. The Ukrainians sank it.
Well, no, not the same one, but
the flagship of their,
of the Black Sea, not the main Russian, flagship, but same difference, it's not, it's not on the level of our aircraft carriers and battle groups and all this kind of stuff. It has a 10,000-mile range, and that's it. So
they're the smokers of Waterworld.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but this oh boy, we don't want to upset the Russians. Their military, is pretty serious, and then you've basically got the Wolverines from Red Dawn, killed all their special forces.
But I don't think that's a concern. I mean, I think the concern is the Russians could do the Control Alt Delete.
Yeah. Well, could they? I mean, who knows at this point? Could they actually do anything? It's like China with all the like space rockets and stuff that just like crashed down and killed thousands of people, and they don't even talk about it. They're like, "Yep, price of progress. We'll just keep launching shit." And
would love to see the Soviet history on that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there that's not.
We have no
knowledge.
idea. Yeah, we have no idea.
So there's a lot of dead cosmonauts floating around up there, probably.
That
and
not just dogs
knows about.
Not just dogs. Rest in peace, Leica.
But so we.
But it's I still didn't get my question answered. I understand what you guys are saying. I understand that people believe that we should not have put them on the outside. We should not have been continually treating them like an enemy after the Cold War was over. Totally get that. But why is there a huge contingent of people that are like Russia's right to invade Ukraine? Because of the Ukrainian Nazis and the biolabs.
I don't think that's kind of like window dressing. But the opinion of a lot of people is that the areas that the Russians are seeking to reclaim are ethnic Russians. So you've got Crimea, which is their only like warm water port. So it's from a strategic standpoint, it made sense for them to go in and get it, and it was ethnically Russian area. So now you've got these other areas that they are like just they had their sham vote and annexed, and those are ethnically Russian areas. So the Ukrainians obviously are like, no, this is our sovereign part of Ukraine. You can't have it, and that's kind of the deal there. So Russia thinks they have rights to it, and Ukraine says no. And the people in those areas could kind of go either way, depending on who you talk to.
Well, that's strange to me because if you, I mean, how long has been Ukraine been a sovereign nation? So
since the end of the Cold War, but then it was under Russian control for 300 years.
I understand that. I get that, but like Was there some sort of major, I mean, even social injustice that was occurring in these traditionally Russian regions from the
No, they're just
Ukrainian
trying to
government?
get back
It's the
restore
same.
some of their former
That's medieval shit then.
areas.
No, it's World War
It's
II.
medieval shit.
It's Hitler stuff. I mean,
Yeah, it's Hitler shit. Yeah.
I mean that everybody wants to say, you know, oh, what it's a false comparison, but that's exactly what Hitler did, which is like, oh, there's native Germans there, and that's
Right.
mine now, and
Yeah.
there's native Germans there too, that's mine now too, and well, that's understandable, and it was all understandable until you invaded Poland, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much, and
Yeah. Yep.
and I understand that, you know, you're looking at the past and you're comparing it to the future, but it's the same thing. It's the same stupid thing.
Yeah,
So,
my whole point is like Russia is 100% unjustified in the war, in the invasion, if there was nothing bad happening to Russians in Ukraine. Like borders were set. It was a sovereign nation. Nothing was like unduly bad happening to Russian people in Ukraine, and those Russian people were free to leave to go back to Russia if that's what they wanted to do. I'd have to think. And I mean, again, I don't like sit there and listen to UN proceedings or anything like that, but like, I don't know of anything that was we're not talking about the genocide or like something crazy happening like that. But so this is like the crazy thing, right? You have Russia invading Ukraine because they say there are Russians there. It's like we could invade the world under those premises, and then you have these massive, genocide activities that are happening over the last couple of years that get, I mean, very little coverage on the U.S. Media, but a lot on BBC and others, like the Uyghurs and the whole thing in Malaysia. Was it Malaysia or anyway? There's some massive events that happened over the last couple of years. Nobody cares. The Western world doesn't give a shit. Don't care. So like, why do we care about Russia invading Ukraine, but we don't care about all these other things? But that's like that whole. I don't know. I'm very confused by all of it. I think it's all bullshit, and I'm rambling now, aren't I?
well, I mean, the Russian thing we're concerned about because of the strategic aspects of it. That's why
Totally agree.
But,
well, yeah, okay, I get that, and it's also a huge grain supply to Europe and others, and it's also energy supply, and
yeah, I'm with you, Wog. I mean, the what I don't understand is it's the one side or the other. It's either you're a stooge of Putin, or you are you got to be kidding me. What the hell does Ukraine have to complain about? So it's like there's sort of a middle ground here.
Like I don't think Russia should have invaded because it was a sovereign nation. Like, take up a UN resolution and work diplomacy, because there was literally nothing threatening anybody else when you quote unquote stepped in. It's all bullshit. So I don't know. At least we see it as bullshit, right? I mean, who's to say? I mean, you could find out that, man, the Ukrainians were suppressing everything from Russians in their areas, and it wasn't proceeding forward with a normal democratic proceedings in whatever light that would be in. So I don't know.
If you question any of it, you get impeached. So
yeah, I think I take a step further. I mean, that's what.
Hey, what if we impeach him before he even runs?
Yeah.
Well, that's what they're doing now with the special counsel, right? So
for what? For what?
Existential threat to the republic.
What?
But that's the pro Russia side. What I don't understand about the pro Russia side is like they're like, oh, look at this. Look at this crazy thing Ukraine has done. And it's like, well, they're about to be taken over. They're going to do whatever the hell they think they can do or is possible to do. to prevent themselves from being taken over. I mean, why is that a surprise, right? From day one, you take whatever Ukraine has to say with a grain of salt because they're partial in this argument here, right? I mean, they're the ones that are going to lose their sovereignty, their livelihoods. Of course, they're going to do everything they can do to affect the outcome. That's not a surprise.
Can I throw an alternate thing out there that I just thought of? What if Russia is doing such a shit effort in Ukraine in order to draw out all of our military secrets, like the HIMARS system, and Ukraine's been immensely successful with it, but shut up. What if Putin's running this war with like the dribs and the drabs in order to see what we will give them and get all of it, and then shock and awe like crazy wave in 6 months and just totally destroy Ukraine because they've got a huge guys. I still can't buy that their army is that deficient right now. It just sounds to me like a fucking
historically it's been pretty deficient. They just are willing to throw as many bodies as they have against
totally understand
whoever the aggressor is. So
they haven't even thrown a fraction of their
military, aka World War II.
No, I understand that, guys. I'm not that much of a barbarian, a pretty big barbarian, but I understand that part of it. But they have way more than they're using, and unprovoked attack. Like all this stuff doesn't make a lot of sense.
Do they though? Because they're not in. It's not in the same vein of oppressive regime that historically it has been. So you see, like what's kind of leaking out. These folks aren't really down for the fight.
Listen, I would love for that to be true. I would love for that to be true.
They're drafting people, are they not?
Yeah, and the people who are being drafted are not thrilled with that. It's not like here in the U.S. where get over it. We're going to turn you into a soldier. It's like here's a rifle. Here's a rifle, and you're going to show up here, and you're going to be in the field on Tuesday.
I feel like that's what we do too now. But anyway, I don't think we have a. Whatever. Hey, listen, if you guys think that this is really what Russia's got to offer, it's interesting. I just have thought about that because why is this war even happening? I almost feel like it's contrived.
They have more to offer. It's just it's on the end of an ICBM.
No, I get that too. I get that too.
Control Alt Delete. Yes.
Mutually assured destruction. So why invade a country with such a shit plan that your forces weren't even like they could have easily done this better? Like, well, I could do this better with a command.
They thought they had the opportunity in the U.S. I mean, that's why.
I think the working theory from the Putin stooges is that he could get away. He could probably get away with one. So basically, tactical nuke deployment on the battlefield to either while they're retreating or to take some objective, and nobody's going to retaliate. Because that would be then mutually assured destruction. So he can get away with it once, and there would be limited repercussions. Well, I mean, obviously, once they catch him, then there would be repercussions. But up until that point, nobody's going to throw one back.
I think that's. I just think that's like nuclear warism. Like I hate to like just cast it into that bucket, but just from a practical matter, if you were like a business guy and you looked at this thing, you'd be like, yeah, I'll go take over Ukraine. All those guys that are over there right now, like for training, why don't we just send them into Ukraine and take it? I mean, really, they're not that dumb. And Putin was KGB and all the rest of it for a long time. I mean, this is not like, I don't know. It's starting to really fail the sniff test to me and start to look like, what the fuck? Like, this is contrived. And after all the other global events that have happened lately, a lot of them seemingly contrived to control people and manipulate markets and do all these things.
I mean, obviously, while it's contrived. I mean, he took this action. Putin took this action.
What is he going to get out of it?
Because he thought our current state of affairs, the United States of America, was his most opportune time to take that action.
I think it's actually different. I think it actually is more than that.
What's the reason he didn't do this under Trump as opposed to Biden?
Oh, because Trump said he was going to fucking kill him.
That's my point. That's my point. He took the opportunity when he thought he could.
Well, then why not bring your A game?
They are bringing their A game. That's the problem.
If this is truly a superpowers A game, holy shit!
Yep,
it's horrible.
Mike, we couldn't subdue Afghanistan. So, what do you?
This is I mean, it is a little different.
Not really. Not particularly.
The mountains of Afghanistan are not, the plains.
You're trying to subdue another country, and not just send them to the Stone Age. That's the whole. You can disable them, but you can't take them over. And what Russia's trying to do is take them over, and what we tried to do in Afghanistan was take them over. Take them over. Didn't. Until we decided, take them over and say, this is the way you're going to do things. And we know all the varying methods or logistics that you need to do that. I mean, Clausewitz and all that stuff, Japan.
Oh, it takes a long time.
Not necessarily a long time. It takes an overwhelming amount of force of you do this or you're going to die. Yes.
Right.
Yes. Things that are very unpleasant to people today. Yes,
correct. Right. It's imperialism, basically. Yeah.
Yes,
which you can't and shouldn't.
War. Yes.
And
what it means to engage in war. Yes.
Hence, we have no appetite for it anymore, and that hence the initial question, right? Like, why is this going on? We are not going to liberate and occupy Ukraine. We haven't sent anybody over there.
Yeah, but we're going to spend a boatload of money to let the citizens of Ukraine try to defend themselves.
So what we're doing right now is subjugating Ukraine.
How? We don't have what?
We're subjugating Ukraine through fiscal policy.
I think we more like giving them a blank check, and we're not expecting anything to return.
No, we 100% are, just like the World Bank does in subjugating the countries that they go into.
So I agree totally. We're giving them a blank check. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, I don't. So no. We're counting every penny, and we are going to say you owe us $12 billion.
They don't count pennies for anything. What are you talking about?
No.
What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Like, I mean, if by you owe us, you mean that they're going to, turn the other cheek, or not turn the other cheek, but turn the other way when Hunter Biden gets up to something fishy again. I mean, that's about the extent of it. I think. I don't think anyone's expecting anything in return.
No, I think that this is an actual 100. I think the whole motivation for this war is 100% to get Ukraine under the boot of somebody else.
They're already a proxy state of the United States. They already were. That's the problem.
But now they are. And that's why we have 100%.
They already were. So anyway, we're not going to solve this tonight. But
what do you mean? I mean, we're not going to world peace.
Yeah, all we want is world peace.
From the bitter end, no world peace.
I want to shift gears to something that's more horrific than the possible World War III.
What's that?
Indiana Jones 5.
No.
What? So we have a.
It's my childhood you're stepping on, and
is there a trailer?
I'm not
definitely
stepping
better.
on it. Nah, I'm not stepping on it. I'm not stepping on your childhood.
Somebody is.
Disney is stepping on your childhood. So we are children of the 80s, and we were raised watching things like Tote's face melt off in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, hell
and we were Wog wants to take a break, potty break for a second. All right. Well, I don't want to run too long, but let's take a break, and then we'll go into the
Sounds good.
the Indiana Jones. All right.
All right.
What can we do?
Dun, 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 dun.
All right.
Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
All right. You guys back?
I are back. I was back.
Okay.
Quick.
So we got to toughen up a little bit here because I see these guys go for like 6-7 hours at a clip, and we're not taking like trailer breaks. I guess some of them do, but
maybe maybe they're pissing the gallon jugs, like
some of them definitely are. I'm not going to do that, but
trucker style, just throw it out the window, I had meant maybe watching this teaser trailer from Indiana Jones 5.
There isn't a teaser trailer for Indiana Jones 5, is there?
There's one on YouTube with Screen Culture Plus. I don't know.
I don't think so.
When you said it, I put it out. It's right there in the whatchamajig.
Yeah, but there, I just watched it. It looks like
that just came out. That came out 2 weeks. No, that's fake.
Yeah, that's gotta be fake. There's scenes from the last one.
Oh, fan made film then.
Yeah, that's fake. There's no scene. They just actually put out like the first 2 screenshots or production photos from the movie, 2 or 3 in a magazine last week. So I don't know.
Wog, you were duped.
Rewind a little bit.
Listen, Riggs just said Indiana Jones 5, and so I said, "What about the trailer for it or something?" Yeah, that's what I meant, not the bitter end trailer. And then I Googled or YouTube Googled, and it came up with a bunch of stuff. But anyway.
So Indiana Jones, we grew up with it. We had Raiders of the Lost Ark. We had the Temple of Doom, and
I couldn't
we had
even watch Skull.
My favorite one was the Last Crusade, 1989.
Second
and
best.
I didn't like Temple of Doom as much, but it was still,
Kalima,
cool for a little
Kalima.
kid to watch a dude
Yeah.
get his heart ripped out, and
For sure.
and then face melting in Raiders of the Lost Ark and all that good stuff. We had in my house we had some action figures from they were the same size as the GI Joes and the Star Wars.
So many
guys.
dead Nazis.
And so there was production hell for long time, and we got Indiana Jones 4, which was not great. Personally, for my money, I think sticking with the religious kind of archaeological finds and artifacts is probably more grounded than Aliens. But that brings us to Indiana Jones 5, and I don't know if I think warned you guys away from spoilers so I could or theories or leaked news, to try to hit you over the head with it and get your reaction. So
So this has become a reaction video.
Well, not really, because we're all too scared to show our faces. But we've got Indiana Jones 5 coming out, I guess, next year at some point. It's been delayed for COVID. It's been delayed for Harrison Ford breaking a hip or whatever. It's been delayed for rewrites. So there's a YouTube.
Was Chewbacca not available?
There's a YouTube guy who, if you're not familiar with, it's worth checking out. His name is Doomcock, and he is a guy who also doesn't show his face, but he has a persona. He's a Doctor Doom like character who is living in the center of Earth, planning to take future ruler of Earth. It's a whole shtick. He's got hundreds of thousands of followers, and he traffics in a lot of this fanciful movie spoiler leaks, kind of stuff. And he's got a he hates Kathleen Kennedy and Disney and all things woke. I think he has some connection to the movie industry, which is why he's not
right. Well, he must,
showing his face.
Right. So, and he's got some side characters, a Cthulhu guy and a talking skull and all these kind of things. And it's, it's entertaining and, take it all with a grain of salt, kind of stuff. So one of the things that he's been talking about for years, it seems like, is this internal war at Lucasfilm where every week, it seems like Kathleen Kennedy is about to get ousted. And obviously she, keeps getting her contract renewed instead. So, but he blames her, and as others do, for, why Star Wars sucks now. And, everything being, woke and diversity casting and, all this kind of stuff. So Indiana Jones 5 has obviously Harrison Ford. It has, I think Antonio Banderas is in there somewhere. Mads Mikkelsen is the main bad guy, and then Phoebe Waller-Bridge is the sidekick for Indiana Jones this time out. And you may remember her from she was the woke droid in the Solo movie. And I think she's one of these that everything she touches turns to shit. So, we've got the porn bots are in the chat. Hey, porn bots.
Yeah. Hey, porn. What's up?
So
our only followers.
Yeah. So, I think we hit a magic time when they find us after an hour or something. So, we all pretend that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull never happened, but at the end of that movie, Indy married Marion Ravenwood, and his son Mutt was going to take over the family franchise, and obviously Shia LaBeouf had his problems. He's a topic for another episode.
He became
probably.
a saint.
Mhm.
He's
Right. So that's a topic for another episode, probably. But he was troubled. We had some fun at his expense, 6 years ago with his public art and a bunch of internet autistic people chasing down his, flag and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, this movie is going to suck so hard that you'll wish that we had mutually assured destruction. Indiana Jones. You guys want me to get into the leaks, the supposed leaks?
Let's get into the leaks. I mean,
ruin
so
Christmas.
Far,
go ahead and ruin
Christmas.
Christmas.
I was just gonna say everything. We have Thanksgiving this week, so ruin Thanksgiving. Tell me everything that's horrible, or I can just ignore this because I actually didn't even make it through Crystal Skull, and I think I was even really drunk, and I couldn't even make it through that.
We were together in the same movie theater, so I don't know.
I think I was really drunk.
Okay, but hopefully you weren't driving that day.
And
I don't remember it.
And the wacky tobacco, right?
No, I wasn't on the wacky tobacco yet.
But anyway, so this movie, Indiana Jones 4, obviously, there's no Nazis anymore. We're in the 50s now. We're dealing with communists and the Soviets. So Indiana Jones 5 is.
What about the Trump Nazis?
Well, we may get there at some point, So
Indiana Jones 2020.
Indiana Jones 5 takes place apparently, at least the movie starts in 1969. You've got the space race, kind of framing everything, and who were our space scientists but ex-Nazis, right? So Phoebe Waller-Bridge plays some kind of archaeology student or reporter, tracks down Henry Jones Jr., and they go on a search for some kind of MacGuffin. Also, the bad guys are after this MacGuffin. So the bad guys get the MacGuffin, and they go to Stonehenge or something, and then they open up a time portal. Phoebe Waller-Bridge goes through the time portal, and Indiana Jones reluctantly follows her. They are now in the 1930s, so he can fight the Nazis again, and they run into young Indiana Jones, who probably is going to be a deep fake, type situation.
Oh, for sure, CGI Max, yeah.
So then there's shenanigans. Old Indiana Jones is mortally wounded. Young Indiana Jones is blinked out of existence, and the Phoebe Waller-Bridge takes over the mantle. Young Indiana Jones never existed from that point forward, and she's going to be the new Indiana Jones, coming to you on Disney Plus as she searches for young Indiana Jones, who may or may not, be lost in time somehow. And Raiders of the Lost Ark never happened. Temple of Doom never happened. Last Crusade never happened, or it happened and it was Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character. And fortunately, that means that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull never happened. But unfortunately, we lose, we lose your childhood as a result.
Dead.
So this happened before any of the original trilogy.
Well, it would have, yeah. He would. What they go through the time portal and they wind up, in pre. I think was Raiders. I always get it confused. I think that Temple of Doom might actually canon wise be before Raiders of the Lost Ark. But
that's your homework assignment for next week, Riggs.
Yeah, I probably knew this at one point, but I think they don't actually line up.
No, I knew that they didn't. I just couldn't remember how that all happened. I just know that the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull happens obviously much later than the original trilogy, and if this happens before that and takes that and throws it out, wow, that's cray.
So they've replaced Indiana Jones with a young female lead, because of course they did, and we've gotten rid of the old dinosaur cis white male, straight cis white male, or whatever those that word salad is.
Well, he's been killed once, right? I mean, he's already been killed. Harrison Ford.
No. When was he killed?
The Star Wars movie, they killed him.
Oh, they have to kill him. They have to kill him off everywhere because
he wanted to be.
He's all that is man.
Off. He'd been trying for almost 40 years to get himself killed off from that franchise. So,
he's in the Bill Murray camp. Kill me now.
So, but I think this supposedly he likes Indiana Jones, and it was always just a question of having the right script, which I can't fathom that, like, he came back for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, like that was the right script, like
No.
But for my money, I was big time into like the adventure games back in the mid to late 90s, the kind of point and text and graphical adventure games. So the Indiana Jones Fate of Atlantis was like a big one. I love the story in that game, so like that would have been a great Indiana Jones movie, or the premise of that. But obviously they never came to be. I know there were other books and games and different things, but the Young Indiana Jones TV show, I have the complete box set, somewhere from that. But yeah. So I mean, what do you guys think? You've taken Indiana Jones out of the equation and replaced him with a woke female character.
Well, I mean, there are so many.
So I guess I'll say this, that the director of the movie has come out and said, and it's the guy who did Logan and Deadpool 2, I think. So he's come out and said, "Oh, this isn't true. Like, don't believe these internet rumors." But it seems to be a pattern lately where anytime somebody catches wind of one of these, kind of insane subversions of property that people care about deeply, probably too deeply. I mean, He-Man was a big recent one where they totally, I guess the He-Man show that came out on Netflix was kind of billed as this like return to greatness for the franchise, and Kevin Smith was involved, and it's going to be totally awesome. And then it was a total like role reversal. Like, I think they killed off He-Man in like the second episode or something, and and then the female Tila took over. And I mean, I can't imagine getting that spun up about He-Man. I didn't care for He-Man too much as a kid. It was stupid, in 1985.
It didn't even it never made sense. Like,
it was a toy commercial. I mean, they all were toy commercials, but some toy commercials I like better than others. I was G.I. Joe and Transformers, and He-Man never really resonated with me, but people really like He-Man, and this was a they took He-Man and flipped it on its head. So Kevin Smith famously at the time was calling all these people talking about internet leaks a liar, and he was going to be true to the character and all this kind of stuff, and it turned out to be total lies coming out of his mouth. So I get the same vibe from I think James Mangold is the director of this movie. And no, Kevin Smith is no longer my boy.
Okay.
Hasn't been for some time. I think he went off the rails. When he started on the Wacky Tobacco, so he was he made stoner comedy, but he wasn't a stoner, and now he's a stoner. And everything he's made since then sucks.
It's been garbage.
You must have enjoyed the latest Ace of Spades post on that.
Kevin Smith. Oh yes, yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Quite lengthy.
Yes, because it's always the crying Kevin Smith is every time without fail is going to be so we're gonna Black Panther and it's just it's pathetic and somebody's probably paying him for sure. So, but anyway, so I thought I'd throw that out there about Indiana Jones and see.
Yeah, I mean,
take.
listen, having a reset and switching to a different character is not the basis, and it's a MO. But I would just throw out there that I like the kids are watching that the Netflix, but it's D&D basically. Spellbound, spell something. The kid. Anyway, it is very inclusive, but not like in your face, like stupid about all the stuff, all the things. It's just everybody's there doing things, and the story takes the lead. And that's what I think is the downfall. A lot of these like DEI like shows, they're so driven about the inclusion and the blah 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 that they lose sight of the fact that they're telling a story.
Well, there's also, it's not just that they have to be inclusive. That's fine. I mean, you can represent all kinds of people,
and that's where I'm at.
Life.
Like it's
as long as it serves the plot, that's great. It's I think this is one of those cases where
it's a
my
shoehorn.
My guess is not even that. My guess is the interpretation from people probably more like thinking like us is that you're doing it at the expense of a certain demographic, and you're going out of your way to remove that demographic and undermine that demographic and mock that demographic. So Indiana Jones is going to be, shown as a doddering old white fool, and he's going to be upstaged by the much smarter, better, and more dynamic, female lead that will then wipe out the dinosaur man and we're going to have a Disney Plus show on the daring adventures of the female Indiana Jones.
Yeah, see, I'm not even like wound up on that because that just happens. It's when they do that and then they just suck. Like the stories suck. Like
it all sucks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that like this for the merit, on the merit, right? They shoehorn this shit in there. I don't care. It could be frogs. Like I don't give a shit, right? It could be whatever it is. But they shove the shit in there, and then they're like, "Oh wait, now we have to write a story," and they suck. All these movies suck. They're horrible. The story's horrible. The characters are horrible. The cinematography is horrible. Everything's horrible. And they're like, "Oh, it's a whatever the hell." I won't even say. I'm like, this is it's a bad movie.
Yeah, but because the core of it is unbelievable.
Exactly. Well,
but. No, I mean that's the thing with Marvel. I mean that's the whole point is you're going to replace men with women, and a 120-pound woman is going to kick the shit out of the big bad whomever baddie it is. It's not believable. It's not believable.
It's not so much.
Yeah, I mean, in Indiana Jones, a little different because you got you think of the Raiders of the Lost Ark, where it was an ad lib scene where you got the guy comes out swinging the sword, and then Indy pulls the pistol and blows the guy away. And
I mean,
Harrison Ford had the flu that day, and he was just like, "F this, yeah. I'm just gonna, ad lib this scene," and they kept it in the movie.
Indy in general has not been he's a hunky dude, but
to turn
super
point,
machismo.
That is definitely a point of criticism that a lot of people talking about this stuff take is that it's unbelievable. I mean, I haven't seen the new Black Panther movie. I don't know when I'm going to see the new Black Panther movie. I imagine that the Shuri character who probably weighs, Letitia Wright, I think, is the actress. She probably weighs, 110 pounds, dripping wet, and she's probably, kicking the ass of, much larger, stronger, male characters, and I mean, maybe that didn't happen in the movie. I don't know, but I think she's, Black Panther now, or temporarily until the next Black Panther takes over. But that's kind of
but wait a second. I mean, that was the whole that was the enduring factor.
That happens in every single movie, guys.
No, it doesn't. Not in the new ones. Not in the new ones. What was the enduring factor of Indiana Jones? He had his weaknesses, right? He hated snakes.
Yeah.
Name me the new female power, whatever can conquer the world that has
that is weaknesses. An actual fully built character
that has any weaknesses.
It's more than that. More than that. It's any weakness, any personality, anything. All of it's garbage. That's what I'm saying.
But that was exactly the point with Indiana Jones is you knew he had well-developed weaknesses, things that
he couldn't land an airplane.
Land an airplane. He hated snakes. Right? There was kryptonite to Indiana Jones. There was kryptonite to Indiana Jones, and
totally
you don't
agree
that none of the replacement characters. That was the whole thing with Star Wars, where I can't even remember her name. What the new Hell Jedi, right? No weaknesses. Superwoman, right? I mean, zero weaknesses.
Jedi powers that no one had ever seen before, didn't need any training,
That is the kiss of death. That is the weakness in all of it.
It's terrible storytelling, and that's what I was trying to say, guys. It's horrible storytelling. Your characters, nobody gives a shit about, and it's not just the movies we're talking about, the blockbuster movies. It's all of the movies. They're bad, man. They're just bad. You don't give a shit about who the person is you're looking at. So that's why, like, when you talk, Turn, you talked about Marvel earlier. I agree on certain things, and I disagree on certain things. Like, I liked Hawkeye because it was like down to earth. Okay, like it was very sort of basic. You knew Hawkeye; he was built up correctly in Phase 1. You understood how that whole thing went. I didn't like Moon Knight. I didn't know Moon Knight to start with, but like no character development, like, and not like a little bit to understand what this person's in a situation for, but like no real character. But like I don't care about him, right? I don't care about the whole series. You got a little bit of caring in Loki because you knew Loki from the movies, but if you just take the show as it were, you didn't give a shit about Loki either. That's the problem. Is bad storytelling, bad cinematography, whatever you want to call it. It's just terrible. And by and large, the focus of a lot of these woke pieces is that the woke takes the precedence and the story is just garbage.
Yeah, but that's because the characters in the woke can have no weaknesses. What makes these stories what makes these stories powerful and the Indiana Jones stories powerful,
overcoming
is their weaknesses, is that they're human, is that and then every effort to supplant or replace them is a supplant and replacement of somebody that is superhuman, right? It's it's usually a woman that is superhuman and has no weakness, is the most intelligent, the strongest, and what have you, and it destroys the story, completely destroys the story.
And I would just say I agree with you, except that it's usually a woman. It's usually someone of some unspecified or specified gender that takes that role, and it doesn't even matter because it's a bad role. They haven't built up the pluses and the minuses and the grief and the struggle and the strife. They haven't built any of that up. They just said this person is a alphabet soup or a woman, or listen, normal normal women are not even cool anymore. It's got to be some bent on something, and now they're invincible. So that's what I'm saying, Tim.
Well, there's definitely a girl power, angle in a lot of these things. So you had, Captain Marvel in the Marvel movies was invincible. I think she got punched pretty good by Thanos, there. But basically,
but then she rips his ship in half. But I agree.
Basically invincible. You've got Ray was basically invincible. Going back into other mediums, you have Wolverine was replaced by a female in the comic books. Thor was replaced by a female in the comic books. Iron Man was replaced by a female in the comic books, and now is going to be replaced by a female on Disney Plus. And I guess that character's in the Black Panther movie.
Ironheart. It's her genesis. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a terrible character. So, but
we'll see. I mean, it might be the same thing with my kids. I'll tell them that there's only the original trilogy and of Star Wars, and there's only the original Infinity Saga for Marvel. That's it.
Isn't that the plot of the Last Crusade? I mean, one of the plot pieces of it is that Indiana Jones is seduced and defeated by a woman.
Mm-hmm.
That's the plot. That's one of the plot pieces.
But it's in intrigue.
And he has to go back.
Is it Eskimo Brothers? Is that the he's Eskimo Brothers with his dad?
Yes, it is.
No, well, the remember he has to return to Berlin.
League.
Go get the book.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
No. Well, I mean, that's the likability of Indiana Jones is the fact that his character has so many flaws.
Right.
That's the likability.
And
he overcomes them. That's
he's
likability.
He's a middling college professor by day and a grave robber by night.
Basically,
a bunch of weaknesses.
Yes,
including young women.
But that's not the plot that you see in the new stuff. He's
just a worn out old man paraded out in front of the cameras once more.
No, but I mean,
for the sole purpose of having him humiliated and replaced.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, but then the replacements are superstars, right? I mean, they have no weaknesses. I mean, they're awesome.
Yep.
Well, I think that's what we're expecting in here. I think that's the expectation.
100%.
Zero storytelling.
Exactly. Then that's my point, Tim. It's just about ramrodding some kind of superstar in there to try to make bank, and then it's just horribly put together. Anyway.
So I guess we'll see. I'm not sure when this is. Maybe this article I have up tells us when it's coming out.
I'm gonna watch it because I'm an Indiana Jones diehard, so I'll have to watch it.
Well, they're expecting you to watch it. That's why, because of that reason. So I'm not going to watch it because it's impossible to get to the movies these days with 5 kids.
Well, I'm not going to the movies anyway.
And, I don't have any of these streaming services that it would show up on. Yep, I was tempted. I think they were showing. I think they had the Thor movie for $9 on Blu-ray at Walmart today. So I was tempted to pick it up, but
well, I will say that the Love and Thunder movie was fun. It was a fun movie. Was it worth buying forever? Probably not. I watched it once. That's all. I'll probably watch it. So
this guy's saying we're going to get a trailer before Thanksgiving. So I guess we'll have something to talk about next time.
Yeah. Hey, y'all traveling for Thanksgiving or sticking around? Because we could do another show.
We're gonna be staying put. So
nice.
I think Turn's plans are up in the air right now.
Unknown at the moment.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to end here or do we do?
Although I have to point out, you have a marijuana drink in your banners there, buddy.
Is that what this is?
Yeah, that's a yeah.
Okay.
Can group's a big one.
Guess because I'm talking to you, it knows what.
Yeah. Hey, you're on a live stream with that jerk.
But yeah, so this was the first shot of I think we've seen some leaked set photos, but this was the first shot of old Indy. And
is that the Chinese guy from I thought his face melted off.
No, this is Mads Mikkelsen, so he just looks like that guy.
So they're just like cloning.
No, it's just another guy that looks like that other guy. This is 1969. What was Raiders of the Lost Ark was 1936 or something. So
so that was still cool, I guess.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I bet it will be entertaining. But then you walk out of the movie going, "What? Huh? I don't understand."
Yeah, but why aren't they should all take the Top Gun playbook.
Maverick. We haven't talked Maverick, but next time maybe.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh my God. So watch it before next time and we'll talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try. I think listening to other people, the way to go was to see it on IMAX, and I think I missed the boat on that. Oh, it's probably playing somewhere, but
pretty BA. It's pretty BA. I watched it on a plane, so it's BA on a plane. I was all excited.
So it's probably badass on a smartwatch,
Smartwatch. I had the thing in the seat, so like it wasn't bad.
But it's not much bigger, than your phone.
No, it's a little bit bigger than your phone. Yeah. But
I'm saying it's cool. Like it's probably cool on a postage stamp size screen too.
Yeah.
But I think the way to go is supposedly the way to go is the IMAX way.
I could imagine that is true because the shit that goes down with the jets doing what they're doing, it's pretty BA.
All right.
Well, gents,
want to wrap it up?
We got an hour 40 here. Probably got to split this up for reposting, Riggs.
Well, I can just leave it up. I guess let's talk in the green room after I end the stream.
Fair enough. Hey, like, subscribe, hit that bell, do the
smash the bell,
smash the bell.
Like button,
smash Riggs in the face,
hit the melee button,
jump in the dumpster fire, hit the melee button.
All right,
roll initiative. We got to talk about D&D here too. Yeah.
Have a good night, everyone.